Another bizarro Chevy problem. I swear I think General Motors wiring or electrical problems must be the issue. So you see, it says I'm averaging 3.5 miles per gallon. That is obviously not accurate. You see the odometer says 16. So here's the problem I'm having, and I've Googled it and I don't see anything that directly correlates to this. The only thing I saw was they said just basically replace, the cluster itself, and then obviously you got to program the mileage. But here's the thing, so it's at 16, it does not go any higher. If I pull the cluster, the second I disconnect it and plug it back in, it will reset everything to 0, including that. And of course all the trip miles and everything, they'll all be back to 0. And then it will start accumulating miles, 1, 2, so on. When it hits 16, it stops and just stays at 16. Now, if the speedometer stuff wasn't working, I'd say, well, there's obviously a problem with the speed sensors or something like that. But the speedometer works, everything works, it just stays at 16. Of course, the initial gut reaction is, who cares? It's a 2004 vehicle, so it's 19 model years old now. It's exempt from odometer readings anyway, yada yada yada. The problem is, that's basically how you keep track of maintenance and so forth, is your mileage. And without that, then I have no idea if I'm closing in on needing an oil change or whatever. And fluid color is one way you can sort of check, but it's not as reliable, obviously, as going by mileage or whatever. So I would like to fix it. If anybody has seen this sort of problem and found a solution, let me know, because it seems highly odd that it would get to exactly 16 and stop, and I can repeat it over and over by unplugging the cluster and plugging it back in. It will reset everything to 0, and like I said, it'll accumulate 16 more miles and then stop again. So pulling this is just basically snaps in all the way around, just pulls off. It does help to have the steering wheel down and put it in low gear as far as clearing it, but I think you might even be able to get this out with it in park. And then the cluster has 4 7mm bolts. The ones that are in dark you're not going to be able to see, but there's basically one in each corner. And then you can pull the cluster away, and there's an electrical connector up at the top and the back, and it's just one of those squeeze and release. Alright, you can tip it down and reach the electrical. There you see, so you just squeeze the blue and the gray together and then pull it straight out. Squeeze it like that and pull. I'm not going to be able to do it one-handed, but that's what you do. I unplugged it and plugged it back in, and you see we're back to 0. So now if I drive it, you see everything. It's weird though, it doesn't reset the oil life, although I'd even question how accurate that 98% is. But you see all of these are reset. Everything. So obviously I've driven business miles this year. So now if I drive it, it will go from 0 to 16 and then stop again. Very freaking weird. So if anybody's run across this or has a clue as to why it would go to 16 again and then stop, let me know.